Matt, yeah, here we are on the grid for the final race of the day. It's the seniors that we've got to look forward to now. Here are our two front row men. Here's Joseph Riley, and there across from him is his teammate Guan Yu. Let's see if we can have a chat with us ahead of the race. Guan, you have had a fantastic start to the year as a senior now. In Campos, great weekend. Here's even better.
Yeah, here's a great weekend for me so far. We win 3 heats out of 4. And we win the pre-final as well, so fantastic.
Yeah, and all looked pretty smooth and under control in the pre-final. You looked comfortable.
Yeah, in the first lap we got to second, and we managed to get to the lead, and I got a big gap, and I win the race. So.
And I know you're looking ahead to this race, but looking ahead a few years down the line, it's about time we had a top Chinese driver in Formula 1, isn't it?
Yeah, well, hopefully he can be an F1 driver in the future.
And I've got to ask you about these boots. You've got the smartest boots in the whole paddock, these gold boots. Whose idea was that? Yours?
Yeah, just for winning the junior champion last year.
Good, man. Well done. Good luck for the race. Joseph Riley, here we go. You're at the front this time. This is where we expected you to be, really, after the heats. But you got bumped back a bit. Had to come from 7th, but pleased with your starts again, I would think.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend for us in the racing. Done well in the pre-final. Happy to be on the front row. So hopefully we can have a good final, and it's a good point for the championship.
I think you win the award for best starts of the entire weekend. You've had some mega runs down into turn 1.
Yeah, luck's been on my side this week.
It is tight down there, though, isn't it? I guess you have to really be aware of what's going on and read what the others are doing as well as what you're doing.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Every race is different, especially every start. Karts are going everywhere and just happen to be at the right place at the right time.
And you and your teammate Guan here and at Campos look to be really evenly matched. Should be a close race.
Yeah, it's been really good. The competition's been hard. We've been at the front for Campos and here, so it's looking good. Good
stuff. Thanks for your time, Joe. Good to speak to you. Here he is. This is where we thought you'd be, kind of a bit earlier in the weekend at the front. But you've obviously sorted the dramas out now, Ed, because you were quick in the build-up to qualifying. You had a really tough qualifying session, but you fought your way back to the second row of the grid for the final.
Yeah, obviously we managed to get our way up to 3rd in the pre-final and drop back to 4th, but hopefully the start will be okay and we can get round and have a good fight.
It's a little bit cooler, bit of breeze picking up. You have any fears about that? Is that a good thing maybe that it's a little bit cooler?
It'd be nice if it chucks it down. It'd be nice.
You like the wet, don't you?
Yeah.
So outside row, it's not ideal, is it? But what can you do from here?
We just have to see what happens. Sort of. Hopefully we won't get hit and spun round or whatever, but get around the first corner and see how the rest of the race goes. Thanks
for talking to us. I better let go, Ed. You're supposed to be listening to the words of the clerk of the course. As you can see, they've been summoned to have a words or listen to the words of the officials here. Thomas Liner just talking them through, so you can see that they've all been summoned to the front. So just looking at the carts while we've got a chance, the two guys on the front row have both got scrubbed slicks. So too have the guys on the second row and the third row and the 4th row, and the first set of brand new slicks I can see are on the 5th row of the grid. So we look back to Clement de Mayo, who's got a brand new set of slicks on, and Vili Itkonen, he's got a brand new set of slicks on as well. They are limited to the amount of slicks that you can use during the course of a weekend, and some of them will have used their new set of slicks, their brand new set of slicks for the pre-final. Some of them will have saved them for this final, so it might well be worth keeping an eye on these two guys with the absolutely fresh, unscrubbed slicks on to see how they get on. And just looking at the run down to the first corner, it is ever so slightly uphill. It's a very gradual climb up into the braking zone. It's a fairly flat circuit here at Genk. There are 1 or 2 rises. It's a slight downhill braking zone into the last corner. But as I say, that you're halfway up the straight before you get to the start line here. So there's not much of a run up to that first corner. So we've got Guan Yu on pole position, Joseph Riley alongside. We just heard from Ed Brand for Intrepid, who's going to be 4th on the grid. And alongside him, having an excellent weekend, is Victor Oberg. On the 3rd row of the grid, we're going to have Piers Lehane, all the way from Australia, and Oliver Myers is going well, the British driver. He'll start on the outside of that row. Drivers now heading back to the karts. At the back of the field is going to be Connor Jupp. He's got work to do. We'll just have a work while he walks down. Connor, you were explaining to me the reason you didn't get out for the pre-final was that there was a problem with the tyre valve and you were losing tyre pressure just before you went out and you couldn't make the start.
Yeah, we got on the grid and we was just about to go out, and one of the other mechanics said you've got a flat tyre, and there's no airline in the repair area, so we didn't even get out. So we've got a thing from starting from the back. We we had a few last year, so it's not much different, to be honest.
Really frustrated that you've had this bad luck, because you've really been quick this weekend, haven't you? You looked like you were controlling things yesterday as well, just getting through to the pre-final.
Yeah, yesterday was just having good finishes, and we done that, and we're supposed to start P2 for the last one, but no, we're at the back again.
Got to go for it then.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Connor, thanks for your time. That's Connor Jupp. That's the reason he missed the pre-final completely. He's going to have to really work hard now from the very back of the grid, but I suppose, in a sense, he's got nothing to lose. So watch for Connor all the way from the back of the field. Have a quick chat with Tom Grice as well, who came up well in the pre-final. Tom, you had a good drive up through the field in the pre-finals. This is a bit more like it, isn't it?
Yeah, should have done a bit better. Got up to 7th, but had a bent axle, so last 3 laps just worked the engine too hard and lost a load of bottom, so we're back here in 12th.
But looking at how quick you were in the heats yesterday, just had that one bad heat, didn't you? Otherwise, you should probably be right up there in the top 6 or so.
Yeah, if I hadn't made a fool of myself and hit a stationary tyre, well, I've been all right.
So what can you do from here?
Win it.
Of course, good stuff. Have a good one, Tom. I like it. Confidence. So let's go back up the grid to a chat with Pierce, yeah. Pierce Lane, who's on the 3rd row of the grid. Everybody back home in Australia is watching. You had lots of messages of support. Here you are. You've gone really well here this weekend. You pulled off some great moves yesterday because you had to work hard in the heats, didn't you?
Yeah, I had an unfortunate incident in qualifying which put us back. So, yeah, we just had to work really hard yesterday, and we made some good moves, and we ended up winning a heat race. So we definitely got the potential, so we'll see how it goes.
I mean, it was tough last year in seniors. I think, if anything, it's a bit tougher this year, isn't it? The level of drivers, there's kind of 10, 12 drivers that can win here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good drivers here, so you've got to drive really well on the day. So, yeah.
So you can do it from here. You're on the inside. That's an advantage. I mean, anybody in the top 10, you can win from there in these long races, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Started on the inside. Here's definitely a big advantage. So we'll see how the race plays out.
I know you'll go for it. We'll enjoy watching you. Well done, Pierce, for what you've done so far. Victor Oberg is on the 2nd row of the rig. Victor, good to see you. You've been terrific this weekend. You've been up there at the top the whole weekend.
Yeah, it's not been bad. Yeah. Only qualifying was not so good, but after that we managed to come back. So it feels great to be here in the 2nd row now for a final.
Yeah, and I suppose you're getting to know these guys a bit better and know and understand their driving styles and driving lines as well. So it might make it a bit easier to work out where you can beat them now.
Yeah, for sure. It's quite different to driving KZ, but it's quite nice.
Yeah, we had lots of drivers that moving from KZ and KF coming into DD too. Have you found the kart to drive? Is it a good kart to drive?
Yeah, I like it a lot. Still think KZ is a little bit more fun.
But you'll think it's great fun if you win the race today, though, won't you?
Yeah, it would be really great.
That's what you're getting for. You're going to do the whole season. Will we see you here in the rest of the Euro Challenge rounds?
We'll see. Maybe. For now, the plan is only to do this one, but maybe I'll do the rest as well if this goes well.
Best of luck. We've enjoyed watching you this weekend. Have a good final.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, then. Victor Oberg is going to be on the outside of the 2nd row of the grid. We've got about 6.5 minutes to go before the start of the race. So time for a quick chat with Ollie Myers. He's looking chilled out. Ollie, I haven't got your helmet on yet. Ollie, you had that bit frustration yesterday with the penalty for the jump start. Otherwise, you'd have been higher up in the grid for the pre-final. But actually, you worked your way through pretty well anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the pre-final, we had a good start, so then that helped us a lot. And then we managed to come through and pick up a few places, and then also made a bit of advantage on other people's misfortunes. So that helped us a bit, and then put us up here to where we should be. So hope for a good final and a good fight, and we'll see what happens.
Pulled off some nice moves into this turn, this right-hander here, turn 9. It's pretty tight. You can get through quite a few corners here, can't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities on this track for overtaking, so it's a good track to race at, and I enjoy racing here, so yeah.
You had a good, consistent year last year to be 7th in the championship, but, you know, podium is in sight here, and I'm sure that's what you're going for, isn't it?
Yeah, podium, if not the win, so that's what we're going for.
Why not? You're just as quick as anybody. Good luck, Ollie. Ollie Myers there, who's going to be there on the 3rd row of the grid. So we're almost there. We've just got a few minutes to go before these guys will be headed out onto the formation lap. Pretty soon, the grid is going to be cleared of mechanics. So great race to look forward to. Back to Matt Suckling in the commentary box to build up to the final race of the day.
Thanks very much, Chris. Yep, nice to hear once again from the drivers down on the grid there. It's turning a bit cloudy overhead once again, but we should stay dry for the remainder of this one. The countdown is now on. 5 minutes to go until the start of the senior final. 3:30 is set to get underway. Nice to have you all online if you are watching. Nice to have you here at the circuit as well. If you want to catch the next round as well and you can't quite make them, then make sure you tune in to rotaxmaxeurochallenge.com the whole weekend from Friday, including qualifying in the afternoon, and Saturday heats and Sunday finals day are all broadcast online, so make sure you check out the website. Rotax Max Euro Challenge. RGM MC do a fantastic job to put on a great event on the karting scene, and it's nice to be here for the first time in Belgium myself. I'm sure many people come year on year to see this fantastic racing. And don't forget, keep your good luck messages coming on Twitter for this final race of the day at RGM MC, and make sure you put that in your message and we can give you a little readown before the day is done. So we are now ready to go for the final. We'll have a quick look at the grid once more to see how it's all going to shape out. This is of course all done through pre-final. The heats would have decided how the pre-final would have lined up, but for the final, this is how they're going to start. It's Guan Yuzu on pole position in kart 303. You can see him now on your screens. The left of the picture, he's getting his race helmet on. He's shaking his head, making sure he's all set to go. He ties it up. The mechanics will be leaving the grid in due course. Alongside there, on the right of your screen, kart 250. Not quite yet in the car or with the helmet on, but he'll be doing so very shortly. Joseph Riley there, the youngster, puts the helmet on now, gets himself focused and ready to go. Row number 2 then sees the red and white kart of 286, which is Victor Oberg, another man who's impressed very much this weekend. He's been charging through the field and finds himself in a fantastic position in 3rd place. 4th place on the outside of row number 2, now with balaclava on, helmet about to go on as well. Ed Brand in kart 205. He starts there in the yellow, black and red kart. Row 3 is then number 212, which is Piers Lahane. He starts on the inside of row number 3, all ready to go for him. And Oliver Myers in kart 207 is there as well. Final preparations underway as the mechanics and the team personnel now leave the grid. The horn has sounded and everyone will get themselves into the karts and get ready for this 16 laps of racing. Row 4 then we see kart 289, which is Brett Ward. He's there on the inside of that row. Alongside him is going to be Vincent Joule in kart 312. Next back on row number 5 is Clement Dameo. He's in kart 302, another man who's been there or thereabouts across the course of the weekend. And Vili Itkinen is in kart 272 on the outside of row number 5. Row number 6 is then that of Josh White, kart 227 for him. And Tom Grice is next up in kart 223. That is how row number 6 shapes up. Row number 7 then sees Dries van Thor in kart 249. Martin Mortensen in kart 204 is next up on the outside of row number 7. Row number 8 in 15th place is going to be Eva Benez, kart 235, and Max Renberg in kart 277 is next up in 16th place. Row number 9, 17th place for Lars Lamberel, kart 222, and Max Aitken, we expect him to charge hard through the field as this one gets underway, kart 306. Row number 10, just squeezing inside the top 20, Yannick de Brabanda in kart 301, and Melvin Benders is there as well in kart 279. Ran very well in pre-final, but right towards the end he drops down and finds himself there, as we said, starting in 20th place. Row 11 is then Jess Backman. We heard from, or saw on track earlier, Andreas Backman, but now we can see Jess Backman in action in seniors. Outside of row 11, 22nd place for Luke Varley in kart 210. Row 12 is then headed by Glenn van der Rugenbroek, kart 298, another man who's impressed this weekend but finds himself a little lower down in this final, and Leonard van Bogart is next up in kart 271. Row 13, 25th place for Lucas Bartozuk, and alongside him Dionysus Marco in kart 308. Row number 14, 27th place for Nicholas Pico, kart 228 he'll be in, and kart 311 for Dylan LaHaye in 28th place. 29th and 30th respectively, kart 252 Glenn Rupp and Konstantin Schul is there in kart 225, and then we find ourselves to the final 2 rows of the grid. Glenn Van Parijs in kart 208 and Avo Talva, another man to look out for from 32nd on the grid in kart 238. And right towards the back, row number 17, look out for these two as well. They're going to be charging hard, I'm sure. Jai Najar in kart 236 and Connor Jupp is there as well in kart 231. They've suffered problems earlier in the day, so watch out for them. Right then, the rolling starts very shortly to get underway. 2 formation laps ahead of them, and the green flag is about to wave for the karts to get off on this one. You can see the karts there, poised to go. All the drivers now inside, and they will be ready for 16 laps of action. The final race of the day here in Genk in Belgium. We are set to go very shortly, Chris.
We're right about it being quite warm and muggy again, isn't it, Dan? I've got a bit of a sweat on walking back up the stairs. So, yeah, pretty humid, warm conditions. It's a bit overcast, but it's a little breeze. But it's going to be hot sat there. I think that's why so many of them were taking their time to get their helmets on, to be honest. Now, a few more good luck messages on Twitter for the last race of the day. Glenn Butcher says, shout out to Pierce. Come on, Aussie. He also wanted to know who got the fastest lap in the junior race, and that was Tommy Prining who got the fastest lap in the junior race. With a time of 56.881 seconds, and Dean McDonald's best time, 56.999, so a tenth slower. And then from Atlantic Embroidery back in Scotland, good luck to Brett Ward from your adopted Scottish fans and the rest of us at Strawberry Racing. Good to have you here watching the stream and listening to the commentary back home there in Scotland. Hope you're enjoying it, and hope you'll enjoy this last race, and thanks for all your support here this weekend so far. So we should be having an absolute crack here with the final race of the day. Guan Yu Zhou and Joseph Riley were absolutely glued together all weekend long in the Winter Cup. Joe Riley, after Guan Yu Zhou led much of the race, managed to sneak through and take the victory on that occasion. But Guan has got the upper hand. He's got the pole position here. We've got Victor Oberg, who's coming into DD2 for the first time and might just be doing this round. But I suppose, Matt, if he wins the race, he might think about doing more rounds, the Swedish driver, looking very calm and cool. Ed Brand, we know, will always go for it. And he is a real racer. Pierce Lehane was looking very determined. There was a steely look in Pierce's eyes. He wants to win this one. He's had a cutting thrust about him all weekend long. He's pulled off some terrific moves. As, Matt, we can see somebody who's pulling out of the race, pulled off the circuit after the first formation lap, which is number 289. And that is Brett Ward. Oh, no, Brett Ward has got a problem with the cart, and Brett is out of the race before it even begins. The cart's been wheeled off. You might see it from the start gantry camera, actually. It's just, it might just be wheeled off underneath it now at the side on the grass. But it's on the start-finish line, basically, where Brett, his cart has come to grief. So that's a real shame for him. After a really good performance this weekend, Brett Ward started the weekend with bad luck yesterday in the heats, came back very well, and should have been starting the race 7th on the grid. But he'll have to be on the sidelines watching this now, which... it's just about the most frustrating thing you can ask a racing driver to do. So bad luck to Brett. The rest of them then coming round. Guan Yu Zhou on the inside line. As you see it from the start camera, he'll be on your left with the pink helmet. Alongside him with Joe Riley. The red suit, Victor Oberg third. With the black suits, Ed Brand fourth. The race gets underway. The final race of the day here in Genk, Belgium. Down into turn one they go. Guan Yu Zhou's got the lead. Joseph Riley is second. Victor Oberg is fighting hard to try and stay with them. And then Ed Brand fires one up the inside and goes from fourth to third to second. Ed Brand goes second. Guan Yu Zhou's off like a rocket. He's already got a 3-cart length advantage, helped by the fact that the three behind were fighting each other. But Guan, smooth as you like, a glance over the shoulder, he's off. Now they've got to try and stay with him. Ed Brand in second, and then third is Joseph Riley. Somebody just slipping back there a little bit. I think might have been Victor Oberg losing another place on the run down the back straight into the right-hander at turn 6. Ollie Mars has made a decent start. He's there in 5th position, looking fairly feisty. 1 or 2 went off wide and into sort of half spins through turn 1, but otherwise they all made it through safely. So the top 3 come through here, and then it is next one through. Clement de Mayo into 4th place. Clement's made a great start to the race. Remember, he's one of the 2 that were in the top 12 that are on brand new slicks. He's got Ollie Myers following him now over the start-finish line at the end of lap number 1 into 5th place. And then Dries Van Tur is in 6th place. Remember, Dries was in the second chance heat this morning. He came all the way from the back of the pre-final to get a mid-grid position here. And here he is now, up into the top 6. So Dries Van Tur having an absolutely terrific race. And Ollie Myers having a go for 4th position, but it didn't work coming out onto the back straight. So he tucked back in behind Clement de Mayo, the Canadian driver, who would have been higher up the grid in the pre-final, Matt, had it not been for one DNF in one of the races. So Clement already up there to 4th, the top 3 altogether as well.
Yep, and there's another group of 3, as you've been mentioning, down there in 4th place at the minute as well, still being headed by Clement de Mayo. Down the inside there, Dries Van Thor, great move for 5th place to get past Oliver Myers. So Dries is not hanging about in this final. He wants to get to the front as quickly as possible and is going exactly the right way about it. So good move there into 5th place. Ollie Myers will try and fight back in towards turn number 1. He gets a good toe in towards the straight, in towards the braking zone. They're now ahead, and still up front though, your top 3 doing a great job. Guan Yu Zhou, 2nd place then for Ed Brand, and 3rd place for Joseph Riley. We've got yellow flags down at turn number 9. The car just just out of view of the cameras there, which is a shame, but we'll try and pick up who that may have been. Down the back straight, though, for the second time go our race leaders. Still the top three as one. 4th, 5th and 6th, not too far separated as well, with Clement de Mayo. Dries Van Thor still under attack from Ollie Myers here. He's not going to let it lie, is he? He's going to work as hard as he can to get back into this 5th place. Turns his way through turn number 8 now, down the hill, not much of a hill, but straight in towards turn number 9, and that in turn is just letting Clement de Mayo get away in 4th spot. But no discharging who is up front. Guan Yu Zhu ahead of Ed Brand, and Joseph Riley still sits there in 3rd.
Yeah, warning flag for Jessica Batman at the end of the first lap, otherwise they all carry on. As a yellow flag's down at the final turn, not quite sure why, can't quite see it from this position, but green flags once again as they get to the first turn, so overtaking allowed once again. Through come the top three, Guan Yu Zhu, Ed Brand and Joseph Riley, 3 very experienced drivers. Guan Yu Zhu by far the younger of the 3 drivers. Ed and Joseph have both been around for a number of years, both in their in and around their 20s, whereas Guan's only just come up from the juniors, but he's holding his own, isn't he? A little tap on the shoulder there at the end of the straight from Joseph Riley to Ed Brand, just to say, come on, get on with it. Let's not let Guan get away too much. Then on his own in 4th place is Clement de Mayo, but he's trying to close the gap, and he might be successfully doing it on this lap. Dries Van Tour has got ahead of Ollie Myers, meanwhile, in the battle for 5th and 6th positions. Victor Oberg is 7th, Martin Mortensen is 8th, Yannick de Brabanda has come up to 9th, the Belgian driver, and Lars Lamberel, the Dutch driver, is up into the top 10 as well. The girls, Jess Batman 17th, Eva Benez in 18th position, and now they're being told to slow, so can't quite see what it... I think it's something possibly down at the final turn. All right, okay, I can see it now. It's obscured by the post in the commentary box. But, yeah, a carter's come to grief and a driver needs to be receiving attention. That's on the exit to the final turn. And it's 3-1-2, the number of the carts. That's Vincent Jules, the Belgian driver. And so rather than red flag it, they're going in a cautionary period now. And who's that? Is that Max Aitken that's... going slowly, coming towards us? Yes, it is. Max Aitken then going very slowly, coming down towards turn 9 with the green helmet on there. He's just gone through the shot. It may be that he's just recovered from an off and has got going again possibly, and I'll have to rejoin the back of the queue. So no red flag. They're under caution period, so no overtaking. They have to trundle around at half speed and form up a queue. Bad news, Matt, for the top 3, because they've got a bit of breathing space. That's gone now.
Yeah, it's going to be almost like another start here, because everyone's going to be bunched right back up together as they get this problem sorted down at the final corner. The driver looks not too bad. He was holding his head up and he's just sitting there at the minute. Let's have a quick recap on how we look then under this caution. Guan Yu Zhu is your race leader. 2nd place for Ed Brand in that black and red car. 3rd place then is Joseph Riley. Clement de Mayo is there in 4th place. Dries Van Thor is in 5th. Ollie Myers in 6th place in the red, white and blue card. Behind that in 7th, Victor Oberg. He's got a little bit more progress to try and make it. It was a little bit higher during the start, but now he can catch right back up. 8th place is out to Martin Mortensen. 9th place for Yannick de Brabanda, and 10th place is Lars Lamberelli. So they're all now on their way down at reduced speed through turn number 3. You can see on the screen there, up towards the top of the circuit. They're now ahead with that problem still ongoing down at the final corner. The medic's on hand just as a precaution, as always, to make sure the driver is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I can tell you that Vincent Jules is conscious, and he's been sat up a couple of times talking to the officials and the medical crew that are just making sure he's okay. But it looks like he's had a fairly big accident down there, and he's perhaps a little bit winded. And as a precaution, they're telling him to lie back down and not move, because sometimes these things you can feel like you're all right and then end up causing yourself more damage by moving a bit too quickly. So they're doing absolutely the right thing. They're trained medics, and the caution period, I think, is about to become a red flag period. They are going to stop the race. So the red flags come out, and they're going to stop them all very shortly on the start grid. So what was building up into a very interesting race is now going to be temporarily halted. But what they'll do, Matt, because of a few laps under the belt, was 3 full laps, wasn't it, before the caution period happened, and 5 laps now until the red flag comes out. So they won't give it a full restart and a full regrid. They'll start them in the order, the running order that they're in, which doesn't really affect things up at the front. But what it does do, it closes all these gaps up, doesn't it? And let's have a look if anybody made really good progress that we could then watch out for from that first part of the race. A few making up a few places. Martin Henkel Mortensen has made up 6 places from 14th to 8th. Not quite the storming drive he had here last year when he went from 31st to 4th. But he's 8th, and he's going to be a threat, isn't he, now that they're all bunched up. Lars Lamberel's made good progress as well, from 17th up to 10th. Another driver stepping up from juniors to seniors and looking very good as a result of that. And he's the other one to watch out for, Connor Jupp. Remember, he should have been second on the grid for the pre-final after a stunning effort in the heats yesterday and in qualifying, in which he was quickest on Friday. Connor Jupp then had, as he described to us on the grid, a problem with tyre pressure. The pressure was leaking out of one of his tyres, a problem, I think, with the valve. And because once you're on the grid, you can't change things, he wasn't able to fix that and then go back out onto the circuit and race. So he had to miss the race completely. He should have been second on the grid for the pre-final, ended up missing it. So he's had to come from dead last, 34th on the grid. He's already up to 18th place. And just looking, oh no, it's Pierce Lehane down. I can see somebody pushing their cart down the pit lane just underneath the commentary box. It's Pierce Lehane, who looks like he can't get the cart ready in time to join the restart. So I don't think if you saw what happened to him, Matt, but I don't think I saw the reason why he's dropped out of the race and dropped down the order. He wasn't really up at the sharp end, was he, before the flags came out?
No, unknown to me. I don't know why Piers Lehane has brought that cart in, but if it is a problem, he has got the slight chance of trying to get it fixed before the race gets back underway. So if he has got anything wrong, the mechanics I'm sure will be on hand, but if it is a mechanical, it will be race over for him. So that's a bit of a shame. Some of the drivers just taking the opportunity further back to step out the carts, the ones towards the front deciding to stay where they are and just remain focused as much as possible. So mechanics on hand as well, as you can see, along the start-finish line. So they'll be given a few bits of advice. Connor Jupp, though, as you mentioned, he's got another chance now, because starting right at the back, you have to find your way through. But by the time you get to where you want to be, there's a massive gap normally forming in racing. So it gives him a chance to close right back up. 18th place he'll start in the restart. Just behind there, the looks of it, cart 226. So he's going to be stuck behind that on the restart, which is Jess Backman. So Jess is there as well. Not too bad a progress from her from row number 11 on the grid. The injured driver, Vincent Jules, the Belgian driver, has just been stretched into the ambulance. I don't think I saw an ambulance for the entire season last year in Rotax Back Euro Challenge, and we've seen 3 this weekend, 3 incidents across the weekend. Thankfully, in the earlier 2, drivers were fine and just taken for a check and they're okay. This driver, to let you know what we can see from here, has been conscious and has been talking to people and trying to sit up. So hopefully it looks like a precautionary thing more than anything else, but they will take him to the medical centre for a check. And if we get any news from the officials on his condition, we will of course let you know. But we hope that Vincent's okay and wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully we'll see him in action again very, very soon, but he will obviously miss now the start of this race. One driver that something had happened to and has gone down to the back of the field now, but has been able to get back on the grid, is number 306, which is good news for him. Well, bad news that he's at the back of the grid, but good news for Max Aitken in that he's been able to at least sort of catch the gap up to them now. But he's got an awful lot of work to do and not as many laps to do it in now. So they'll sort the grid and the grid positions out now. Connor Jupp's got the opportunity to drop the pre-final score. You can drop your worst pre-final and your worst final score at the end of the season. So your best 3 pre-finals, your best 3 final scores count towards the championship. They don't have to be from the same meeting. So his mission now is just to get as high up the order as he can, to get as many points from this final and make sure that this one is something that can count towards the points final. So Guan Yu Zhou, Ed Brand and Joseph Riley, the top 3. Clement de Mayo looked as quick as them, actually, didn't he? Maybe was slightly starting to close the gap before the caution period happened. So he's going to be a threat. And the other one that's going to be a threat here is Dries van Tura. He's having an absolutely terrific Sunday afternoon so far, isn't he? Yeah, he certainly is. So here, Dries van Thor, who's just on the grid there. You can see him stepping out of the car. He's just having a chat with a few of the drivers around him. You can see Ed Brand and Joseph Riley as well having a chat about what's going on. But once again, our clerk of the course, Thomas Lineup, is just going to have a quick chat with the drivers to make sure they all know what they're doing. This first half of the race, Chris, has almost been like a second pre-final, because again it sets the grid for what we're about to see. It brings some of those a little further back up even more. So it's going to be another dash for the points here in the final. It's going to be cut short down to about 11, probably 10 laps by the time everything gets back underway. But now the drivers, as we said, just having a quick chat with Thomas Lehner about what's going to happen here.
That's right, yeah. He's well, first thing he'll do is inform them about the restart procedure, just to make sure they're all singing from the same sheet, and then he'll let them know how many laps the race is going to be held under, just so that they know exactly what's going on. I don't think necessarily he'll be talking to them about driving standards or anything like that, because it was, by and large, looked okay out there. Although, of course, obviously something's happened, because we've had this incident down at the last turn. I'm sure he'll take the opportunity to remind them, but he might not necessarily be laying into them, because driving standards have been okay so far today, by and large, not totally, but generally okay in the final. So you can see there he is in the middle, surrounded by these drivers, the German race director laying things down, making things clear, and that's for the benefit of everybody's safety and everybody's enjoyment of the sport. So hopefully these guys will take all of that in. Behind, you can see that they're trying to jiggle carts back into correct grid positions according to the correct restart. So again, a lot of this is going to require some focus and concentration from the drivers, isn't it? Because they've been dragged out of a race situation where they've got the race heads on and they're in the zone and in the rhythm, thrown out of that, taken out the carts, having a chat to the race director now. They've got to get back in the carts. It's probably going to have been about 10 or 15 minutes between racing and going racing again. So they've got to clear their heads and just, almost talk to themselves now and talk them back into race mode.
As we know with most drivers as well, they don't like to be disturbed. They like to focus whenever the drop of the hat, whether it be on the dummy grid, on the main grid, they want to focus as much as possible. So this little bit of a stop in the action is going to phase them slightly. Some will handle it a little bit better than others. Guan Yu Zhu there being pushed into his rightful place, number one, where he's been most of the weekend so far. Of course, 3 victories in the heats out of the 4 he had yesterday, and of course in the pre-final earlier he did the business again to start from pole position, and there he is still up front with a big challenge though. Those 2 carts behind were pushing him really hard as the race was going on. Ed Brand and Joseph Riley, don't count them out of the mix just yet, because they could be really big contenders as well. I think everyone are now just shuffling into place. You've got the likes of Clement de Mayo still up there. You've got Dries van Thor, I think it's going to be starting in 5th place. Ollie Mars there in 6th. Victor Oberg in 7th place. So he's been a little bit further down in this one at the minute, but we'll see if he can make any more progress. Just a cooling of the tyres as well should help out a little bit. And then just behind Victor Oberg, you'll see the cart of Martin Mortensen. Just maybe an opportunity to remind you that after the live stream of this race finishes, we will have interviews with the top 3. And then we'll have a break from track action. There's no more racing to come after this one today, but we will be streaming the podiums live. So RGMMC TV will continue to broadcast. We will replay all 3 finals. So we'll have a replay of all 3 of the finals from today. There'll be usually about an hour's gap between the end of the race and the podiums, but we will stream the podiums live. And as I said, that'll be an hour or so after the end of this race. So we are well away from timetable now. The original timetable would be to have the podiums at 4:30, but with umpteen red flags today, obviously that's delayed things somewhat. So I would imagine it's going to be more in the region of around about 5:10, but we will keep you posted on that if you want to watch your favourite drivers onto the podiums. So I think we're almost ready to get them back underway. Yep, they're told to pull away. The green flags are waved, and it'll be Guan Yu Zhou from Ed Brand, from Joseph Riley, from Clement de Mayo, and then Dries van Tor and Oliver Myers, the top 6. So it's as in the running order of previously. Victor Oberg 7th, Martin Mortensen 8th, Yannick de Brabander 9th, Lars Lambrel 10th, Tom Grice 11th, Glenn van Drugenbroek 12th, Melvin Benders 13th, Glenn Rupp 14th, Glenn Van Paris 15th, Max Remberg 16th, Jess Batman 17th. From the back of the field, Connor Jutman 18th, but now with everybody in his reach. 19th, Eva Benes, 20th, Avo Talvar, 21st, Nicola Pico, 22nd, Lucas Bartazuk, who started the weekend really well in the heats yesterday, but he's faded a little bit today for one reason or another. Vili Itkinen, the Finnish driver, 23rd. Dionysios Marcu in 24th, Konstantin Shaw 25th, Nat Van Boker 26th, Josh White is back in 27th, fellow Brits Jay Nijar 28th, Luke Varley 29th and Max Aiken 30th are at the back of the field. And out are Dylan LaHaye, Pierce Lahane, Vincent Joule and Brett Ward. Unfortunately, he never got to start the race because his kart
stopped out on the formation lap. As the race is green flagged, gets back underway, and the charge down into turn 1 is led by Guan Yu. Ed Brandy's second. Bits of nudging going on there. Joe Riley gets a little tag from behind, but he stays third. Somebody going very slowly there has dropped 4 or 5 places. I think it's Clement de Mayo. Clement de Mayo loses about 6 or 7 places there after there was 1 or 2 bits of contact on the way through turn 1. As I say, Joseph Riley got a big old tag, but he was able to keep going in third. He's got Victor Oberg behind him now. There in 4th place. The race leader, Guan Yu making his way into the right-hander at turn 7. There he goes. There's Ed Brand in second. Bit of a gap back then to Joseph Riley and Victor Oberg in 3rd and 4th positions, respectively. And then 1 or 2 others now with the opportunity to try and move forwards on this opening couple of laps while they're all still tightly packed together. Top 4 come through. And then we got 301 running in 5th place. That's Yannick de Brabanda, the Belgian driver, going really well here on this restart. He's made it through into 6th place. Through they go. 3rd and 4th getting closer and closer. Victor Oberg cruising up to the back of Joseph Riley, but doesn't have a go on the way into turn 1. He's certainly with the British driver now, though. So the Chinese driver leads, 2 Brits, and then the Swedish driver, then the Belgian de Brabanda. Then Tom Grice has made an excellent first lap. He's gone from 11th to 6th. So Tom Grice up into 6th place now from Lars Lambrell. Oliver Myers has dropped back to 8th. Glenn Van Droger at 9th. And Melvin Benders is in 10th, Matt.
Yep, so that's how it looks for the time being. Is there going to be any changes up front in this one? Not at the minute, because Guan Yu is now starting to do what he did in the heats. Move for 3rd place. Victor Oberg from 7th on the restart. He's now back up into 3rd place. Finds himself ahead of Joseph Riley, so he gets a very nice move on the exit of turn at number 8. But Guan Yu is doing the business out front once again. Ed Brand still there in 2nd. 3rd and 4th, Oberg and Joseph Riley. Behind that in 5th place. Into the pits, though.
Clement de Mayo. Clement de Mayo pulls off the circuit. He's got a problem, so he's out of the race, the Canadian.
It was Yannick de Brabanda in 5th place. I think he's still just about there. Joseph Riley fights back for 3rd place, so at turn number 1. Great move. And de Brabanda's going to try and go with him. He's on the outside line through the corner. He's then going to be hung out to dry as over the curb there goes 2, 2, 3 by the looks of it, Tom Grice. So Tom Grice has found himself in this mix as well, which is fantastic. He's down there in 6th place. Good run onto the straight. He goes nearly 3 wide down there, at least 3 in a line. Down the inside again. Victor Oberg gets contact as they go through. Still 3 wide in the corner as well, as Tom Grice now finds himself ahead of the man who's been pushed right back to Brabanda, and the top 3 now streaming away with this.
Yeah, de Brabanda went into the side of Oberg at the end of the straight, but he actually came off worse, and Victor Oberg was able to keep it going, and it was impossible to shove off the racing line. So he stays 4th. They lost touch with the top 3 now. So into 5th place becomes Tom Grice. Said he was going to win it, didn't he? Well, he's trying. He's there in 5th place, making great progress in this race. Oliver Myers has come back up to 6th. De Brabanda with that contact on the previous lap, dropping down to 7th. Oliver Myers down the inside of Tom Grice into turn 1, goes 5th. Lovely move from Ollie. So up to 5th place he goes now. Grice down to 6th. It's the first time he's gone backwards in this race, Tom Grice, after a very good first few laps. De Brabanda's coming back at them in the black race suit there, but he goes too deep into the corner, and he's going to lose a place himself now to Martin Henkel Mortensen, who'll pick him off, I think, down into turn 6, into the right-hander, who just about squeezes through. At the head of the field, Guan Yu is about 2 kart lengths clear of Ed Brand in 2nd. Joseph Riley certainly starting to close the gap ever so slightly now to Ed Brand in 3rd. They're all pulling away from Victor Oberg in 4th, who leads a huge train of karts on the way down to turn 9.
Yeah, this mammoth gap now between 3rd and 4th, just like we saw in the juniors a few minutes ago. But the top 3 doing great stuff here so far, with Guan Yu still up front. 2nd place Ed Brand, and 3rd place for Joseph Riley. 4th place is Oberg. 5th place for Myers, and 6th place in there as well is, by the looks of it, Tom Grice. Myers down the inside again at turn number 1 to pull off a fantastic move on Oberg. Oberg then has to defend from Grice. Mortensen is in the mix as well as he tries to get back to the inside at turn number 3. It doesn't quite work for him, but these 6 cars now all as one once again up towards the hairpin at turn number 5. Change for 2nd as well. Joseph Riley has snuck through there. Didn't quite catch that one, but he now finds himself ahead of Ed Brand. So good stuff from Joseph. What now can he do about that gap to the race leader, Guan Yu? Contact further back as well. We've lost one of the karts there. Possibly Tom Grice, I think, has gone from that mix. So Oliver Myers 4th, and 5th place Victor Oberg. Even bigger gap now, back to 6th place.
210 was the one going off at the chicane and losing a bunch of places. So Luke Varley we saw going really, really wide from the middle of the pack. So he's lost an awful lot of time. Over the line go the top 3 then. Guan Yu, Joseph Riley and Ed Brand. Oliver Myers 4th and Victor Oberg 5th are in a little personal battle of their own now, and then everybody else wants to be in 6th place. That's the tightest battle out there as that makes its way through turn 3. Martin Enkel-Mortensen leads that group. He's in 6th. De Brabander is 7th. Glenn Van Paris is in 8th place. 9th and 10th then Drugenbroek and Lamberel. So Connor Jupp, by the way, up to 12th place. He went from 17th to 12th on that lap. So he had a terrific lap. So Connor Jupp really coming into the mix. He's on the tail of that train now. Watch for him with the blue suit and the orange helmet. He can make up plenty more places yet. Meanwhile, Guan Yu Zhou is having to work hard here because Joseph Riley's on a really good lap. Both of them starting to stretch their legs now. And I think edge away from the 3rd place cart of Ed Brand.
Yeah, Riley's not going to let Guan Yu Zhou lay down for much of this race. He's going to push him hard as possible. We're going to have 5 laps to go now as they go, 4 laps in fact, as they go across the line. So just 4 laps to go in this senior final. Oliver Myers still working very hard to keep Victor Oberg behind him and out of harm's reach. Glenn Van Parijs, I think, going for a move there on one of the moves inside the top 10. It could have been Glenn Van Drugenbroek. He went past there, so a good move from Glenn Van Parijs to get inside the top 8 for the time being. You can see, though, as they head their way down the back straight, top 3 away with this one for the time being. 4th and 5th, Myers, and 5th place, Victor Oberg. Another move being made there as they dive off the straight. Looks like Martin Mortensen has been passed once again from Yannick de Brabander. So, again, after he dropped down the field, he now finds himself working gradually back towards the front. He's still got a big old gap to close down on the tail of Victor Oberg as he turns his way now through turn number 8. So we keep an eye on the leaders in this one. Guan Yu Zhou and Joseph Riley again bring themselves closer together. A gap that was 4 tenths previous time round, with now just 3 laps to go, finds itself being 3 tenths of a second. Yeah, a tenth a lap quicker is Joseph Riley. Zhou has just done a 55.6 and a 55.5 for Joseph Riley. A 55.5 as well for Ed Brand, but he's just a few cart lengths further back from them, but he's as quick as them. On that previous lap, Ollie Myers having to work really hard to stay in 4th place through the right-hander at turn 5. But he gets a good exit, and Victor Oberg I don't think will be close enough to attack on the way into turn 6. There they go, 4th and 5th into the right-hander at turn 6. Right, Joseph Riley is almost now with his teammate Guan Yu Zhou as they go down into turn 9. 2.5 laps to go, or less than 2.5 laps to go. Ed Brand is working hard to try and close the gap, and if they start fighting, you can bet that Ed will be there ready to pounce. So through the right-hander they come, accelerating out, just kissing the curbs on the exit, flat out now, and an adjustment to the carburettor with 2 laps to go for Guan Yu Zhou. Lap times this time through very tight as well, and Joseph Riley fires one down the inside. Look like it was close enough, but he went for it, and a half chance, but he's taken it, and it was a lovely move through. So Joseph Riley into turn 1 gets the lead of the race. The 2 leaders absolutely together as they go through the right-hander at turn 5. Trying to go around the outside is Guan Yu Zhou, but he has to get off the throttle, and Ed Brand is going to go around the outside of him now down the straight and into 2nd place. So Guan just misjudged that. He tried to go around the outside of Joseph on the way out of the corner. He had to get off the throttle for a fraction of a second. It lost him acceleration, and that was why Ed was able to just drive past him and move up into 2nd place. So down to 3rd has gone Guan Yu Zhou. Oliver Myers still just about hanging on to 4th place. Yeah, and Guan's now going to be on the back foot because he's got double the work to do. Ed Brand and Joseph Riley to try and get his way through. And look out for Ed Brand here. He's not going to try and sit back as much as possible because Joseph Riley is ahead of him. He's going to push as hard as he can now as they head on to the last lap in this final. Ollie Myers still there in 4th place. In fact, I think he's just got past Victor Oberg, but he's going to try and have a lunge back down at the inside at turn number 1. Not quite going to work there for him. Behind in 6th place as well. Look out for the man of Yannick de Brabander, still holding off the 2, Glenn Van Parijs, and also there as well, look out for the cart of, by the looks of it, is Martin Mortensen. So those 2 go together. Up front, though, is where we need to focus our attention. Last lap of the race, Joseph Riley, 2nd place Ed Brand, and 3rd place Guan Yu Zhou. He's had a perfect weekend so far, apart from that 2nd in one of the heats. Can he get back to the top spot? Well, the time is starting to run out. He comes through the final corner in a couple of corners' time. He heads now down towards turn number 9. There goes Guan through the inside at turn number 9. He gets into 2nd place, but Joseph Riley is far too much up the road. He's going to have to settle for another 2nd in this one, and for the senior final it's going to go the way of Joseph Riley as he heads up towards the checkered flag. He's delighted with the win. He punches the air, he grabs the win. Further back as well for 4th place, Ollie Myers just stays ahead of Victor Oberg. A great run to the line there, but Joseph Riley picks up the win. Guan Yu Zhou in 2nd place. Both of those drivers congratulate each other, and Ed Brand gets on in the mix as well. They're in 3rd place. What a race.
It was really nice to see. After they went past the checkered flag, all three of them, Joseph Riley, Guan Yu Zhou and Ed Brand, drew alongside each other and shook each other's hands. Immense respect between those three drivers, and they're going to be going for this championship. The three of them, no doubt about it, are going to be up there in contention this year. And it was great to see such close, tight racing, but it was clean between all three of them. Three really, really good drivers you've just witnessed there, all worthy of the victory. But in the end, Joseph Riley, with that inch perfect move at turn one, he had that one chance. It wasn't even a chance, it was half a chance, and he took it and he committed to it, and he went through cleanly, and Guan Yu Zhou couldn't do anything about it. And Guan is a good, clean, fair driver, and he was never going to turn in on Joseph Riley, especially being his teammate. So he tried to get him back, though, 2 corners later. He tried to get him back coming out through the hairpin onto the back straight. He drew alongside, but the outside line wasn't going to work, and he had to just, as I say, get off the throttle for a fraction of a second, and that then, at the time, cost him second place to Ed Brand. But as Matt described there, Guan getting it back, getting the position back with 2 corners to go, with an equally good and clean move as the one we saw from Joseph Riley. So it's another Strawberry 1-2, and it's the same top 2, the same way round that we had at Campios in Spain, with Joseph Riley the winner and second place to Guan Yu Zhou. But that young junior, he's a real talent, isn't he? He's got far less experience in senior karts than Joseph Riley, but it doesn't show at all. And Ed Brand as well, another very, very experienced driver. So Guan is keeping these more mature drivers well within his sights, isn't he? Joseph Riley, the winner. Guan Yu Zhou second, and Ed Brand completes the top 3. I think Ed will be pretty pleased with the podium, actually. He always wants to win. They all always want to win, but if you'd said to him after qualifying on Friday, you'll finish 3rd on Sunday, he'd have taken it, because he was way, way down the order in qualifying. So Ed Brand completes the podium, and Oliver Myers that with one of the best performances I've seen from him this weekend in the Euro Challenge. He's getting better and better, Ollie Myers, and 4th place there after a really good, clean race with Victor Oberg. Really tight, the two of them, almost touching going into the final corner. They both wanted it, but it was Ollie Myers who nicked it by 35 thousandths of a second, because Victor Oberg came at him coming out of the last turn, but Ollie Myers stayed 4th. Victor Oberg almost got him, but stayed 5th. Yannick de Brabanda, 6th, was rounding out the top 6. So Matt is already down there in Parc Ferme. Let's hand over to him now and hear from some of those drivers.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Got for 3 very happy drivers once again down here. And first off, we'll start with our race winner, Joseph Riley. Fantastic race. You timed it to perfection. Right towards the end, you make your move. Perfect.
Yeah, same as Campelos, really. You know, stay behind, follow, and then 2 laps from the end, made my move and made it stick, and there we are.
I have to say, you have been on the back foot slightly this weekend. You've had to make it work for yourself, but it all comes good in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was a great race. Chinese Joe led the whole race. Brilliant drive, no mistakes whatsoever. Ed as well. You know, we both tried to catch him. It was a good race, really, really difficult.
You've got 3 more rounds to come in Euro Challenge this year. Are you hoping for much the same for the weekends?
Yeah, exactly. You know, if we can be in on top 2 rows, it's brilliant. You know, it's all about points at the end of the day for this championship.
Well, Joseph, great race there for yourself. Great weekend. Well done.
I'd just like to thank everyone at Strawberry Racing and Cream Racing Engines. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
Well done, team player Joseph Riley there. Your race winner from the senior final. Guan Yu Zhou, second place there. You must be a little gutted because you've been so quick this weekend with many, many wins.
Yeah, I was leading the whole final, but the chassis started going off in the end. And Riley overtook me 2 laps ago. So I tried to follow for 1 lap and overtook Brown for 2nd place.
You've got to think about the points, though, because it's all about building points. It's not built on winning as many as you can. It's just about being consistent.
Yeah, we came first for the pre-final, so the points is really good.
And a great scrap amongst all 3 of you. You all kept it clean. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, and I want to say thanks for Strawberry Racing.
Well done, Guan. Congratulations. Good luck at the next round in Italy. So 2nd place there to Guan. Let's see if we can find Ed Brand. He should be here somewhere. Whereabouts, I'm not too sure. The cart... There's quite a few down here, I have to say. I think it's here, in fact. So we'll see if we can find Ed Brand. He should be about somewhere. This Ed? Yep, Ed, 3rd place there. You're in the mix for 2nd at one point. You could have been in the lead and you could have won it, but you happy with 3rd?
Yeah, it's a long championship, you know. There's no point trying to crash or trying to win on the first race when we've got 3 rounds to go. You know, it was the 3 of us, and I just sort of used our head, and me and Joe were trying to push to try and catch, you know, Joe as well in the lead. Joe Riley was quicker than me, so he passed and we were pushing. I just didn't have the pace to keep up with him. And then at the last few laps, we sort of got going again and caught them back up. But unfortunately, it sort of got done on the last lap. But it's a long championship, and we're right in there.
I said to Gwan as well, you have to keep it very clean, and it's exactly what you did. A lot of people can learn from you lot this weekend.
Yeah, the starts haven't been great over the weekend, but I think in the finals, I think it was okay. And like I say, the three of us racing at the front was all clean, and it was quite an enjoyable race.
It's all about a championship, as you said. 3 more rounds to come this year in the Rotax Max Euro Challenge. It's about being consistent. It's not all about winning, but I'm sure you'd like to take a win some point this year.
Yeah, we both got taken away, so we'll see if we can on this year.
Well, Ed Brand, congratulations on a great drive to 3rd place.
Thank you very much.
There you go then, Ed Brand, our man who finishes in 3rd place. 2nd place goes away with a slightly deflated Guan Yu Zhu, a few problems with the chassis, and a man who comes home victor in the final of the day in the seniors is that of Joseph Riley. Cracking racing so far. We've still got the podiums to come. For now though, we'll head back upstairs and hand over to Chris Hartley.
Thanks very much indeed, Matt. Yeah, great to hear from the top runners there in that senior race. Joseph Riley, the victor from Guan Yu Zhou, and Ed Brand. 4th place to Ollie Myers, 5th was Victor Oberg. And to run down the rest of the results, Yannick de Brabanda in 6th place. Glenn van Drogenbroek was 7th. Martin Enkel-Mortensen came home in 8th place. In 9th place was Glenn van Paris. 10th, Melvin Benders. 11th, Dries van Tur. 12th, Jessica Batman. 13th, Lucas Bartosuk. 14th, Philly Itkinen. 15th, Konstantin Scholl. Avo Talvar was 16th. Josh White, 17th. Tom Grice dropped right down to 18th in the end. David Bennis, 19th. Lars Lambrell dropped back as well to 20th. Max Aitken, I think, had a problem with the kart, which looked off the pace in 21st. Glenn Rupp was 22nd. Jane Ajar struggled at this final with 23rd place. Max Renberg, 24th. Dionysius Marcu in 25th, Leonard Van Boker 26th, Nicola Pico 27th. Connor Jupp fell back in the end to 28th place after a good first half of the race. And non-finishes there were for Luke Varley, Clement de Mayo, Dylan Lehay, Pierce Lehane, Vincent Joule and Brett Wood, I'm afraid, never got to start the race. Lucas Bartosuk with the fastest lap of the race, a 55.387 to round out what was a really thrilling and enthralling senior race here at Genk in Belgium.